All right, so let's do a rapid fire cell phone video tour. This is just an analog video cable on the top of the camera. I think there's the record controls, but over here you have video out ports. You can connect that to like a VCR, whatever, some ancient technology. This is HD SDI. It goes from the side of the camera right here over to the Atomos Samurai. That's what that one's for. This is one of the USB-B minis. I don't know why that's here. Oh, it powers this connector. This is a sort of spare thing that can go from analog audio and video, the old analog audio and video signal, over to HDMI. It's an HDMI converter. So this USB is to power that. So you can put a USB brick and have it go out HDMI, like to a projector or like a school conference or something. I don't think I've ever used it. That's the battery. It says XLH1. There's only one of them in there. This is a USB micro, which is to power from a USB brick this Blackmagic video converter. It converts from the SDI, the full res signal from out here, over to an HDMI. So for example, if you were doing a, I don't know, some sort of conference where you had to turn this camera into an HDMI camera to get into their mixing console or to record to an HDMI recorder, like a good Atomos HDMI recorder would run off that just fine. This camera used to use tapes. Well, I guess you could put tapes in it now. That would technically work, although we haven't done that in eons. This is a cable that goes FireWire 400 over to FireWire 400. It has an adapter for EIEEE to connect to the camera. So the camera's FireWire port is, I believe, here. EIEEE, right here. And that goes over to the computers that had FireWire 400. So that's what that was for. This is what we call emergency headphones. They're just, you know, sometimes you get stuck on set where you don't have any headphones you need to plug into a camera. That's what that's for. There are some monitors that take a video jack like this, like in the back of a car seat or something like that. We use this in the desert to go from this camera into one of the monitors that was in like a Forerunner, so the crew could see the video while we were doing this clothing shoot. This is an EIEEE cable that goes straight to FireWire 400 with no adaptation. This is the stock adapter. Goes out the back end of the camera. It's very custom. That DIN cable there goes out to all these RGB cables. It's in this end of the camera. Look back there, and you get to plug from there into analog monitoring systems that use RGB. This audio cable is what we use generally to go out a headphone jack on the back of the camera right here, over, and you turn up this knob to control the headphones, over to an analog audio input on the Atomos recorders. This is a spare lens cap. Don't know why that's there, but there you go. There's a spare lens cap. This is a little leatherette pouch that goes with this adapter. This is for Canon EF standard full frame lenses. I guess they don't have to be full frame. They could be something else. But this thing, you can latch it onto the front of the camera, and then you can use DSLR lenses. Like you could use your nifty 50 on there, and it'll scale. It's different because the older sensors, this sensor was like the first high-def sensor that used 3 chips. So it had, I think it's one for green, one for blue, and one for red. I'm not sure about that, but that schema. But basically, that is smaller than full frame as a sensor. So when you put it onto this adapter, whatever the number rating is that's on the lens that you latch onto it, that is 7 times telescopic to that. So it won't, you wouldn't put a 35mm lens on the camera through there and then have it be 35 that you were shooting. You put a 35mm on there, and then it would be whatever 7 times 35mm is. It would be like a telescope, right? This is the wide lens, already probably pretty commonly understood by everybody who's looking at this, if anybody's looking at this. This is the stereo mic. There's a left and a right demarcation on the top of it. that's supposed to help you put the right on the right, the left on the left. This is the camera strap that came with the camera once upon a time, millennia ago. Let me turn this light, get some more light over here, since I have the C-stand. Boom. Now, this charger is pretty complicated, actually. This is a power plug that goes to the wall. You know what that is. Then it runs over to this charging unit, which is where you put the battery, and that light will indicate the way normal chargers do that it's charged. But this power plug runs from the battery charger over to a dummy slot that goes in the side of the battery. So this is how you plug it into the wall. You go from here to the battery charger to the wall. It's all three one sort of combined unit. That remote control, not really sure what it is or what it does, but it says Canon on it and it's been there the whole time. I've never used it. I wouldn't even buy batteries for that. This is the dummy battery for the Atomos unit. It's how you plug the Atomos unit into the wall. It's very similar to the other one. These are just cables that go with the Atomos unit to, you know, plug in audio and adapt it to different things. This is the hood that comes with the Atomos unit. It's a sun hood. These two batteries I'm sending, they're like Wasabi brand batteries. They're generic ones. They are the Sony NP-F70 generic ripoff of those Sony batteries. This is the Atomos unit. It is in perfect shape. This is a 256 gigabyte hard drive that we record ProRes to. And there's a 20x lens on the camera itself right now. That's pretty much the whole ball game. Main reason I am selling the camera, oh, and the bag. All that stuff goes into this bag except for the Atomos case. The Atomos case has a latch that is perfectly functioning on that side right there, and on this side has a latch that is broken. So Atomos unit, questionable latch, well, destroyed latch. We don't like that latch. But all the rest of the stuff that isn't that Atomos case, all that stuff goes into this bag, which it has lived in forever. There's a pattern to how we load it in there, but I wouldn't really worry about that on this video. It's an 8-minute video now. So we'll just put it in here. I'm sure you'll figure out where everything is. And that's the game. I hope this works out for somebody. I filmed a feature film that sort of gave me a career on it, and I actually used it for a third of the last feature film, literally in the end of 2017, very recently. It has been a really great friend to our system, to our studio, to our company, to our film crew. It was named April by our first AD, starting a couple projects back, because he could only identify it as the camera that April O'Neil from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles had on her shoulder, because that's how much of a dork he is. So he simply referred to it as the April Cam for just like a third of the movie, until everybody finally started just gesturing to it and yelling the April Cam. So that was its last sort of hurrah, you know. That's how it went out, is as April. Godspeed. Good luck to whoever takes this on. Bye, guys.